Wow, Chelsea are Club World Cup champions. Who'd have thought it? Yeah, I mean, when I booked this trip, right, I didn't think that we'd be out here for over a month, pretty much. I'd be in America for this long. Chelsea would be winning. I mean, there's Real Madrid in here, PSG, Bayern Munich, Manchester City with all the money they've spent as well. That you'd think that they might win it. Not that I didn't think Chelsea could do it, but I just thought not favourites, probably won't happen, will it? But no, they've gone and won it. They've only gone and beaten PSG, the team that everyone says is the best team in the world, and did it pretty easily, to be honest. It's been a great tournament for Chelsea. Yeah, I just wanted to do a video on that because, we will eventually move on to the transfer window, won't we? Back onto it. I mean, Noni Madueke, I don't think we've spoke about him much. I bet that'll be official soon or tomorrow even, or before I wake up, when Arsenal sign him for 52 million. But wow, forget about that. Chelsea have won the Club World Cup. All Chelsea fans need to enjoy this. This is pretty big. I mean, look, I know I've been writing about this for a long time. I know a lot of people don't like this tournament, especially people who don't support Chelsea or the teams that are in it, let's say. But I think that it is, like what Maresca says, it's going to become like the biggest tournament in world football. I mean, it might not do, but it's got a chance, right? It could become as big as the Champions League. It's certainly, when you put those teams in it, and look, the Brazilian teams are good as well. There's a lot of competition. I think that the level of competition was pretty high. The quality of football was pretty high. The conditions were bad, but Chelsea had to cope with it. Just don't forget, Chelsea coped with two games of extreme heat in the group stage. They coped with a 1 hour, 53-minute rain delay in the last 16. Then the quarterfinal playing against your future player, Estevan Willian. Semi-final again, extreme heat. Final, fine, but you against the best team in the world. Chelsea have coped with a lot, really, and they've come out on top, done very well. That's why this needs to be enjoyed. Certainly the Chelsea fans I've seen today look really elated, and rightly so. A few of them had too much to drink on the way home. I saw them. I've been to the press conference, spoke to Maresca, spoke to Cole Palmer. Colwill came out and talked to us, Reece James. I didn't see what João Pedro and Caicedo said, but they spoke as well. So we've had a lot of time with a lot of the players at this tournament, and I just felt really good for them. They look really happy, really so elated, but they look ready for a holiday as well, I must say. They'd party tonight, fly off tomorrow. I think they'll be flying straight on their holidays, not even going back to England. So that means no parade, as I reported previously. But look, these lads deserve a holiday. I've been very impressed with Chelsea throughout the tournament. As I say, those challenges that came at them, of course they got an easy draw, but look, you got to beat what's in front of you, and did that pretty comfortably. In the main, played really brilliant football, I thought. I mean, the stats show that. They're top of chances created, goals scored, things like that. Very good with clean sheets as well. I mean, they're top of everything, really. Decent draw. But then PSG, you're like, right, we'll do it against a proper team. Yeah, we did it. Also, Benfica are very good, and pretty much battered Benfica until the rain delay. So yeah, very good, very impressed with Chelsea. Yeah, and we'll go into a bit more of what it means, but let's just talk about the match briefly. You all probably saw it, so I don't need to tell you what happened, but wow. I think what I would like to tell you that you might not have seen is I was sat in this view, right, quite high up in the stadium, and you get a really good tactical view of it. So it was just interesting to see the layout. It's sort of this new system that he's been playing. And I think maybe it caught Luis Enrique by surprise a little bit because, as Maresca said, they dominated in the first 10 minutes. He thought that his team were going to win because they were that good. And he told, Maresca told his players, make sure they know that we're here to win. We're not here to just play out a game against a better team. And certainly they did that. They were all over PSG. And to be fair to PSG, they got to grips with it a bit better, but Chelsea was still stronger. And then, creating good chances. Eventually you'll get a goal. Parma almost scored already with a beautiful move from, it was Neto, Fernandez, back heel by João Pedro, and Parma just curled one wide. But you give Parma another chance, he scores, and he does. Malo Gusto is excellent, really proving a lot of the doubters wrong, creating the chance. Parma slots it home. Second one was Colwell's long ball. Again, Parma just shifts it onto his left. Exactly the same finish. And that's because this doesn't happen by chance. So don't think it's just Parma, because certainly it is Parma's greatness. But you've got to put Parma in the position. That means his teammates have to do it. That means the manager tactically has to do it as well. And what they did brilliantly too, these are the things that happened during the match. So yeah, the new system was in place, right? So that means that, there's a proper fullback, because Maresca doesn't really usually play with proper fullbacks, but he played with Malo Gusto as a proper fullback. That means Cole Palmer is on the wing, but Palmer's a winger who cuts inside. And we see that for both goals, that is exactly what happened. And let's not forget that Chelsea also went man-to-man with their marking. So that meant that every time one of their players moves, and what makes PSG great is actually their work off the ball. So that is with pressing, but also when they're passing the ball around is how many options they create for each other. But the reason that Chelsea shut them down was because players just always followed them around. So you kind of have the best example for me was Pedro Neto. He just followed Hakimi. He's so dangerous, always down a flank, and it was really, really impressive. I thought tactical masterclass. I saw one of the pundits said that Chelsea PSG, which kind of is true. And they would have looked at Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich actually came close to doing this to PSG. They played really well, but Chelsea actually went and did it. So it was smart. Maresca always watches many games before he sort of sets his tactical plan. He always watches all the games, and he would have looked at that one, I think, what Vincent Kompany tried to do, and thought, yeah, that's the way to go. Wanted to talk a bit about Cole Palmer as well, because I don't think we spoke about it, but, when a great game happens, a great moment, you need a great player to step up and become the match winner. And that's what Cole Palmer was. 2 goals and assist. And yeah, what can I say? Just a star. But, he is really becoming a star. And it's a good thing for Chelsea, I think, because Chelsea come here, right? And Real Madrid have Mbappe, Man City have Haaland, even Inter Miami have Messi, PSG have their marketable stars. And Chelsea needs somebody like that. And when you come here, and I'm looking over there because that's where Times Square is, that's the most famous part of America pretty much, apart from maybe the White House. And on the billboards, they have all the faces of the players. They got 2 different ones. One's got Cole Palmer on and Dembele before the match. And then another one that's been going throughout the tournament is Palmer, Vinny Jr. and Mbappe on rotation. And it's a Nike advert, and they've been putting that up on an absolutely massive screen outside Madison Square Garden. If you've seen the viral video, Palmer saw it himself. Of course, one of the great things Chelsea have done is just let the players have fun and enjoy themselves. I mean, they should have been on holiday months ago, and yet they're still playing football. So, yeah, it's kept them fresh, kept them going, and yeah, it just also shows you what a star that Cole Palmer's becoming. Yeah, so I guess you'll be asking, what now really? Because you might be watching this video a few days later, a few weeks later, right? And you don't want me to talk about the match and Palmer and what you already know. But what's going forward? What we looking at? What's going to happen now after winning the Club World Cup? What does it mean? That's what we always say. Well, first and foremost, great for Chelsea. People going to look at Chelsea differently now? I think they might a little bit. Can't just keep saying, oh, Chelsea spend too much, or fine by UEFA or all this negative stuff without like actually saying that they actually have some good players. They actually have a manager who seems to know what he's doing. They actually seem pretty stable at the minute. No sense of hiring and firing. You know, they're actually doing some smart decisions. Some clubs are copying them on the 10-year contract. You know, you've got Haaland on one now, haven't you? You've got Nico Williams on one. So, you know, it's not, Chelsea are not just being silly, you know. Sometimes you might not agree with what they're doing. You might not like what they're doing. Maybe you don't like what they're doing, but there is a plan, right? And look, they have spent a lot, that's true. They have been fined by UEFA, but at the same time, they're getting results. So you've got to point to that and say, you know, Champions League, Conference League, now Club World Cup. That's a good season. I mean, you can maybe argue Liverpool had a better season in England, right? Because they won the Premier League. Premier League's very hard to win. But beyond that, you can't really argue anyone else had a better season, can you? So I think there's reason to be positive. Chelsea fans and non-Chelsea fans should be respecting what this is, what's going on. I think to a decent degree. I was chatting to a Chelsea fan actually on the way back, and I just said, you know, look, you're giving a lot of people a hard time. I'm like, you need to enjoy it, go out and have fun, because this is what football's about. This is really good. A lot of fans of other clubs would love to trade places with you. So, yeah, Chelsea, I think it'll buy a lot of love, a lot of time as well with the fan base, because everyone knows Chelsea's fan base is very demanding. Yeah, so that's sort of what I think in terms of the emotion of the event. Of course, Chelsea made a lot of money, 80 to 90 million as well. So that'll help in revenue, you know, helps balance the books. Chelsea have always played it close to the line because they want to spend a lot. So they've always pushed FFP as far as they can. Let's be honest, they've always kind of been in control of everything. They've never got themselves in big trouble that they can't get out of. But look, certainly that money helps. And it, also, you don't want to keep spending money and getting nothing back, right? So it's a return on investment. And that's important. When you spent a lot of money on transfers, you want something to show for it, right? This is a pretty good thing to show for it. Also shows that Chelsea can compete against Champions League level teams, against the greats, right? So gives you confidence they can win more trophies, obviously. But also, next season will be tough. I still think there's a slight question mark on can Chelsea handle the workload of the Premier League and the Champions League at the same time. Look, I have no doubt of the first 11 quality. I have no doubt they have a few great sub options as well. But look, few injuries, Champions League football, Premier League, week in, week out, what are you going to do? How are you going to play? Is your bench depth good enough? And we know they've got the numbers there. There's no doubt. I mean, I'm not having a go. There's 28 players in this Club World Cup squad. That's a lot, right? But are the ones at the back end of that good enough to come in when you've got Arsenal, PSG, Man United playing in 3 games in a row? Are you going to rotate those players in? You know, the questions over players like Dario Asugo, if they can play at that level. There's going to be things like that crop up next season, and that's where some doubts will creep in for me about Chelsea. But look, there's no doubt that Chelsea are having a lot of positive signs. So, yeah, I think that's sort of my summary of this day. I've written about it a lot, just sort of trying to get to this point that, and look, you saw it with Cole Palmer's interview that he was like, look, they've been criticising us. He swore. I'm not going to say what he said, but yeah, in his post-match man of the match interview. So there's that feeling, I think, at Chelsea where they get a hard time a little bit, you know, get too much criticism and stuff like that. So to go and do something is a bit of an FU to the world and say, look, we're kind of back, or we're kind of good. We know what we're doing. Trust us. I think that's the vibe that I'm getting from Chelsea right now. Yeah, that's me really. I don't want to go on and ramble on, but I'll be back in touch with you in a few weeks. There'll be more videos. I'll be at the pre-season when we eventually get there. They're going to have 3 weeks off now. They deserve it. It means a very short pre-season of less than 2 weeks. Playing Bayer Leverkusen, AC Milan. I don't know if they'll squeeze in another game. They might just about be able to squeeze in one. I'd reckon it wouldn't be a very high-profile game if they do that, or it might even be behind closed doors. And then we're into the Crystal Palace game in the Premier League, and that's August 17th. And then we've got the transfer deadline. There's going to be a lot of player sales as well in the next few weeks. I think that Chelsea feel they've made good progress on sales. They've made about 84 million themselves just from sales. So Kepa going out, when Noni goes out, don't forget, I don't think I mentioned it, but George Petrovic, the goalkeeper, has agreed a £25 million move to Bournemouth, and that's the fee that Chelsea were chasing, so they'll be happy with that. So all in all, it's been a pretty good summer for Chelsea. Incomings, outgoings are all moving. Need to get a few more out. Obviously, the bomb squad are back at Cobham training, so Chilwell, Sterling, those kind of players, João Felix, the ones we know have no future at Chelsea, they're back at Cobham training. They need to get them out. But that'll be a challenge. That's probably the challenge for now. But for the players, the manager, go on holiday, enjoy yourselves. For the fans, enjoy yourselves as well. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon, probably about transfers or something else on the channel. Take care. Bye.